They reduced it. Thank you. It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Dr. Obiajulu Ugo in the building. Happy New Year.
Morning, everyone. Happy New Year
See you
to
for
you
the
all.
first time this year.
Yes, happy 2025.
Yes, so
I'm excited for everything the new year has in store for me, my family, my friends, my fans. And you know, last year was a year of so many lessons, but God was faithful enough to
one of Nigeria's hottest artists right now. His name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Check it out.
Another.
for dessert and a bit of four. And what other story do we have here? Let's see. With my red biro, I will deal with my political opponent, says Fubara. Very interesting. Okay, let me start with our story yesterday, because it came from your view, you know. Mr. Taiwo, who is the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, outlined yesterday the key features of the updated regime for the tax reform bill. So if you recall, he was saying yes, that the federal government has kicked off the implementation of the 2024 withholding tax regulations. The new regulation, approved in July last year and put into Gazette in October, took effect yesterday, January 1st, 2025. The revised regulations, titled Deduction of the Tax at Source, is intended to modernize the tax system, streamline compliance, and address long-standing inefficiencies. So he was on our show yesterday, and he kind of gave us the framework the government has employed and adopted to ensure that the tax reform bill is spread across and benefits most Nigerians. Businesses with low profit margins will benefit from reduced withholding tax rates, which will enhance their cash inflow and reduce operational costs. He said quite a bit. So watch your view yesterday, and you get more details
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
I'm proud of you, girl.
Yes.
So, major headline, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said yesterday that governors are critical to food security and prosperity. He reminded them that their leadership at the subnational level is central to achieving rapid national growth. He also expressed gratitude for their collaboration while highlighting key areas requiring joint effort. So he spoke when Vice President Kashim Shettima and members of the Nigerian Governors Forum paid him a New Year homage at Ikoyi, a Lagos residence. And he says, "You are the most important link to Nigeria's prosperity and development. The federal government accounts for about 30 to 35% of allocated revenue. The rest comes to you. The agricultural value chain depends on you. You own the land and the job is in your hands." So according to a statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu stressed the importance of unity and shared responsibility in driving grassroots development. And he assured the governors that there was no intention to undermine their control over local governments. He just asked them to focus on delivering transformative governance at the grassroots, noting that effective local governance was crucial to restoring hope and improving lives, among many other things that he said that yesterday.
Totally agree with him. If you see what Niger State governor is doing, you know that any governor deliberates about food security can achieve something.
Okay, and that's
the National Population Commission said that they have registered and offered birth certificates to over 10 million children born in 2024 nationwide. I mean, you guys think about it. In the year 2024, registered births, because there's registered birth 10 million.
That's a lot of children. This
children.
Wow.
Anyway, he said this when the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, presented a birth certificate to the baby of the year at the Asokoro General Hospital. And then he's also saying that, you know, the commission is going to make sure that every child born in Nigeria is registered and offered a birth certificate. And also, you know, appealing and advising all parents and guardians to register their children, saying this process is totally free. They also talked about death certificates. That's important, you know, for deaths to also be registered, as to help us keep a clean and updated data. That's just it, but I was just thinking 10 million. So what does that mean for us economically? You know, there's so many things that this will mean for us.
Continue to have
every
a
year,
youthful
10 million
population.
How do we
But
feed
let
them?
me take the details of this of this welcoming of the babies. So the first lady, represented by the wife of the vice president, Nana Shetima, was at the Asokoro General Hospital, and she welcomed the first baby for 2025. And this is baby Favor Stephen Odion. This is a baby girl. She was born at 12:27 a.m. at the Asokoro District Hospital. And to the families of Mr. Odion Oyibo and Chioma. And then the first male child for the year was born at 7:14 a.m. on the 1st of January 2025. His name is Zim Chikachim Ejiofor, born to the family of Mr. Ejiofor Nwori. At that time, the girl weighed 3.6 kg, and the baby boy weighed 3 kg. Yeah. So this just brought me these floodgates of memories. The Frank was the 4th of January. It's our first baby. Yes. These are like 3.5 kg baby.
This is the last batch of the Gen Alphas. Because by February, the Gen Beta will start being born. So so we're done. Gen Alpha. No, it's for February. February 1st. Gen Beta. So these are the last sets of Alphas.
So our children are old.
They're old. There's a new generation for February.
They are preparing them generation waiting for them.
All right, let's take part is what's been, they were giving packages, talking on certificate of first.
Any other story in Nation? Let's move on quickly now to the Punch. NNPCL may cut crude supply to Dangote plant. They started scaring us again, these people. Shetima, governor's wives welcome New Year babies. 133 women, girls killed in 2024. Based on gender-based violence. Dear Super Eagles goalkeeper Nwa Bali loses mom 2 months after father's death. 9 banks rake in 4.8 trillion naira on loan charges. Chai, Nima should take that story. That's like you always carry those guys. Lukarawa, Nigeria, Niger joint operations continue amid diplomatic row. Tinubu's tax reform will destroy Nigeria's unity, says Kano governor. I think that's worth reading. Focus on security, strengthen Naira, experts tell president. And Naira defies CBN reform, tumbles to 41% in 2024. Okay, which story?
9 Nigerian banks collectively earned 4.85 trillion in interest income on loans and advances to customers in the first 9 months of 2024.
Imagine that.
Better go and own a bank.
50, I'm telling you.
Marking a growth of 114.95% compared to 2.26 trillion recorded in the same period of 2023. So they said Access Holdings led the industry with 1.13 trillion in interest income, and that was up 458.41 billion in the corresponding period of 2023, followed by Zenith Bank, FBN. The numbers are all in billions, of course. So I'm just going to name the banks that were highlighted. Fidelity Bank was next, and Guarantee Trust Holding Company, FCMB generated 317.53 billion in interest, and Stanbic IBTC Holding next. Wema Bank posted an interest income of 149.28, which was an increase of 76.8% from their 84.46 billion in 2023. It just shows, I mean, I would just like to see what this means, for, apart from the bank and the profit that they're making, but, for customers as well. How do you pay back, sort of give back to customers? All the charges you need to give out some gifts to, customers.
All right, so you have a story in Punch?
Our goalkeeper of the Super Eagles.
Oops, I'm supposed to go on a break.
Okay.
When we go on a short break, when we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
Oh, hello guys. Come closer. Now this is not a magic trick, but I'm about to show you the best breakfast show on television. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 20 was 320. I suppose don't be one better.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Okay, that's all we can take.
I choose to
Ejeki, close the show.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online special.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Let me take the human interest story. So it says here in Punch that no fewer than 133 Nigerian women, including teenagers and children, were victims of suspected gender-related violence between January 1st, 2024 to December. And this is according to a foundation femicide reports. Punch gathered that the reports from the foundation's tracker on the dashboard said that it's a non-governmental organization dedicated to combating gender-based violence and monitoring cases of femicide across the nation. So they spoke to the founder, Ololade Ajayi, who confirmed on Wednesday that the alarming number of incidents was based on verified reports of gender-based violence from newspaper articles, Punch newspapers, and quite a number of other social media. So these are the reported cases. There's a very, very strong possibility that there are other unconfirmed cases or unreported cases. So the reports indicate that approximately 12 women were killed between January and March. Among the victims was a 3-year-old girl named Asia, who was initially reported missing but later found in Bauchi State, and her body parts were dismembered. According to data, at least 9 women lost their lives to gender-based violence in April. One of the cases highlighted was Aminat, a 100-year-old woman who was killed by a 67-year-old man, her son actually, 67-year-old son Lukman Adedoju, during a dispute over proceeds from palm oil sales. So a lot of gender-based violence, but it was important for us to just have that review, and hopefully the government can do something to help us curb the amount of gender-based violence across the nation.
Yeah. So I have the story of a sad one too, the passing of the mother of our Super Eagles goalkeeper and the Chippa United goalkeeper, Stanley Wambali. He announced on his X page that, his mom had passed, and he said, "R.I.P. mom, worst year of my life already." And this is following 2 months after his father was announced to have passed on the day we scored a goal when he was working at the last outing that we had. Sadly, a lot of people are condoling him right now. Sadly, this is a trying time for him. I just wish that he will be strong.
Okay, so the federal government said they may cut the crude oil supply to Dangote Petroleum Refinery, reducing it from the current allocation of 300,000 barrels per day, except if there's a surge in Nigeria's oil output. This was what the Punch had gathered yesterday. It said the reduction is expected to take place as part of adjustments under the government's Naira for Crude initiative following the oncoming on-stream of the Warri and Port Harcourt refineries. It says both refineries currently operate at a combined capacity of about 135,000 barrels per day. The plants managed by the NNPCL commenced operations recently after years of neglect. Now, it said the planned reduction of crude to Dangote refinery was also predicated on the necessity to ensure sufficient supply of crude all across all the refineries that are going to be working. Says this is aimed at boosting competition in the downstream sector, with the government facilitating this through the Naira for Crude initiative. It says before the initiative, the government will allocate about 445,000 barrels per day of crude to domestic refineries. That's the operated by the NMPCL. Now, they are saying that they will have to slash it so that they can spread it across. Many of the refineries are going to pick up. They mentioned that the old Port Harcourt refinery is working. The new Port Harcourt refinery is almost done. Warri also joined last week. And so they are going to make sure that they are able to spread it across. So that may likely reduce Dangote. Yes, Dangote's...
Oh, that's it. That's how he wants competition.
So he'll be buying crude from other countries?
He will mix. So, because they can't supply only him now. They have other refineries that are working as well.
Okay, another story in Punch before we move on to Vanguard. Okay, let's move on to Vanguard. Economy, hardship deals huge blows to physical and mental wellness. I have no disagreement with governors on local government autonomy, says President Tinubu. Pope seeks debt forgiveness for poor nations. Tinubu's New Year's message divides Nigerians. What to look out for in African sports 2025? In 2025, God will crush Rivers' enemies, says Governor Fubara. Amen. This amen.
Amen.
Senate to vigorously scrutinize appropriation tax reform bills, others, says leader. Budget 2025, federal government has adequately provided for debt servicing. Okay, which story are we taking?
Okay, I have the major headline.
Go ahead.
Even though it's really an editorial of doom, but I think it's also good that it's highlighted, like the impact of, the economic downturn. And it says that increased treatment costs is threatening healthcare delivery, economic pressure is straining family relationships, causing household conflicts. They're saying the brain drain is worsening, and social bonds need protection. It's just to say that because of the hardship, it's dealing a blow on our physical and mental wellness. So Mr. Shola Ogundipe, who wrote this, just highlighted how the cost of, the high cost of medicine, access to medicine, to food, and all that, how the rising inflation, how it's impacting families and family relationships. He says that a lot of families are going through it. It's affecting relationships between couples, family members, as they're trying to, figure out life and figure out these prices. They say the cost of drugs is making a lot of people now dependent on, home remedies or traditional or herbal doctors who are not able to give them proper prescribed medication. They say a lot of people are getting self-medicated because of that, and this can cause a lot of issues going down the line. So many people are being diagnosed with kidney diseases as a result. So for me, the whole editorial really in summary is just to say it's not when there is economic hardship, apart from how we feel it physically in our pockets, it affects us mentally, it affects us physically. And right now is a time that we need family and community bonds. Because sometimes in these tough times, those are the bonds that help us be resilient and keep us strong. Talks about the multi-dimensional poverty. So that's what it means. When you have less money in your pockets, it leads to other things mentally, physically, and
okay, let me take this story from the governor, Fubara. Governor Simi Bufara of Rivers State has expressed solid faith in the omnipotence of the Almighty God to crush every self-styled enemies of the state and its people. He spoke during the crossover service in their church back in Rivers State, and according to the reporter that wrote this article, not me, he gallantly sang a song to the brethren. He sang, who sang along with him? He said, "At the mention of your name, every knee shall bow. At the mention of your name."
How you know the lyrics?
Yeah, they wrote it here now. That you are Lord. Fubara said the words of the song are not only consolatory, but a charge to embolden the people to firm up their trust in God, who alone can navigate the path. The red barrel is still filled. It is still here with me. Every enemy that is planning
the red barrel
crush
You cross the person with your red belt.
We need to sit down. Who is an enemy?
Who is the enemy?
Yes.
Any enemy.
Only God.
The enemies know themselves.
The enemies know themselves. The ones in Abuja, the ones in America.
Because corruption is also an enemy. Yes, just a person.
Just an enemy. Okay, another story about that.
Yes, so His Holiness Pope Francis yesterday advocated debt forgiveness for poor countries to enable the internationally indebted nations to come out of the woods and develop. He said in his 2025 World Day of Peace message with the theme, "Forgive us our trespasses, grant us peace," sent out annually. They usually send it out January 1 to encourage peace in the world. So the News Agency of Nigeria reports that the Pope's message was read by the Catholic Archbishop of Lagos, Most Reverend Alfred Martins, during a mass to commemorate the day. The event was marked at the Holy Cross Catholic Cathedral in Lagos to promote peaceful coexistence. And the Pope said, God does not weigh up the evils we commit. Rather, he is immensely rich in mercy for the great love with which he loved us. He quoted Ephesians on that. And he said that he also hears the plea of the poor and the cry of the earth. And according to him, hope overflows in generosity and it's free of calculation, making no hidden demands with the aim of raising those who have fallen, heal broken hearts, and set free those in bondage. And he added that at the beginning of this year, he would like to offer 3 proposals capable of restoring dignity to lives, enable people to set out anew on the journey of hope. And in this way, the first is the debt crisis that can be overcome, and all of us can once more realize that we are debtors whose debts have been forgiven by Jesus Christ. Then different churches as well gave their own messages. According to the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, they said that politicians need to lead with transparency, compassion, and accountability. They said this in their own statement. General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God also, said his own message. He says that this is a landmark year, and earthly helpers will be replaced by heavenly helpers, and all of that. General Overseer of the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministry also said his own. He said that he was urging everyone to offer more prayers to successfully wade through the new year, just supporting people. So I like the one with the Pope Francis saying that the debts should be forgiven. Jesus has forgiven us all our debts. So all those Igbo countries should forgive. Yes, they should forgive us our debts.
But I have the liquidity story in the Vanguard. So according to the Vanguard, in an apparent reflection of our liquidity constraints in the interbank money market, banks borrowing from the central bank rose by 261.3% year-on-year to 106.3 trillion in 2024, and it was just 29.42 trillion in 2023. So this, of course, is a major indication for us. I would like financial experts to come and let us know where we stand. So they said the CBN has short lending windows for banks, namely the standing lending facility and the repo lending facility. And they said this standing, that the SLF, they do give it to the banks at an interest rate of about 500 basis points, and the money above the monetary policy rate that they set for the year. But they also lend to the bank through the repurchase, which is the repo lending arrangement, which involves the banks, involves the CBN purchasing bank securities with the agreement to sell it back at a specific date and usually at a higher price. But I don't read them. And there are more details of how we performed each quarter of the year 2024, which is important for all of us to read, but I don't have the time to take it.
Yeah.
Because we'll need the financial experts to come and tell us. Funny man will go and say, this is how it affected things. I'm just a lawyer.
Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we move on to the next segment of the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
5 minutes, strap in your seatbelts and get ready for the airline.
Every kid is amazing at something, but we call amazing kids Amazinators. Feed your kids with the Golden Penny Amazing Date cereal. It contains pills.
I want to start the gym, yeah, but do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying.
So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make a relationship better.
No. Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy
has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I will not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the person you see some spoils?
That woman.
Damn!
Yeah, today we'll go here.
Hey!
Let's get talking.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay tuned. Entertainment for pure entertainment. Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
Oh, hello guys. Come closer. Now this is not a magic trick, but I'm about to show you the best breakfast show on television. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
This is Wake Up Nigeria.
On Wake Up Nigeria, we take your mornings from drab to fab. A quick look at the newspaper headlines to keep you updated on news and current affairs. There's sports, great features and places to go, and things to do.
47, 48, 49, 50, it's okay.
It's lights, cameras, and movie madness because we squeeze the best blockbusters into bite-sized reviews. Our award-winning and
What makes TVC the right choice for my business?
Excellent question, sir. Let me share some exciting facts with you.
Start your day on TVC Entertainment with Wake Up Nigeria, a family and lifestyle show. Your view empowers women globally.
It's your view, let it count.
Entertainment Splash delivers the hottest celebrity trends. On TVC News, we keep you informed with breaking news and in-depth analysis of events shaping the world.
I will continue to speak the truth.
TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. delivers the most important stories of the day. Max FM, your hit music radio station, captivates listeners daily across Lagos and Abuja, making every commute more enjoyable. Adaba 88.9 FM is not left out, as it is the voice of Southwest. TVC Digital will reach 2 million viewers daily. All together, pulls in over 17 million viewers daily. Contact us on 0707-272-8338 or marketing at tvccommunications.tv. Partner with TVC Communications today. Let's grow together.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
What I will never take is threat.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News. First with breaking news.
Thanks for staying with us. You know, today's Thursday, and we always talk about family life issues. So one of the stories that caught our attention from the social media was quite a thought-provoking message saying that should sons inherit the responsibility of taking care of their aging parents if the daughters have been disinherited from properties and their businesses. So usually in many parts of our country, some daughters are not entitled to inherit properties. However, when the parents begin to age, they still look onto the daughters, the family of the daughters, to take care of them because the daughters are more nurturing, they're more caring of the family. So the parents always hope that their daughter will be willing to accommodate them. But now, this new age of women, because I was having a conversation with some people yesterday, I said, people still think that today's woman is like yesterday's woman. They think differently, their processes are different, even though we're raised in a certain way that people expect us to be. But we have new knowledge. We are all raised differently. So a lot of girls today are saying, take a step back. I don't have to take care of you. Since he's the one inheriting the properties, why don't you go to his house and stay with him? Because he also, as a man, should be able to take care of you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-0764-1679, 090-241-63440. You can also send us messages on YouTube, and X will be happy to read the messages. So who would like to go first? PC, you want to start?
Okay, it's an age-long practice where daughters are disinherited because you're supposed to be married and you're supposed to inherit in your husband's place. And recently I was having a conversation to really find out why this was, even from the beginning of time. And the explanation I got was that because you're getting married in another family, it is expected that that family will give you your own inheritance. You will be inheriting in your husband's place. Unfortunately, that's not the case, because even when you get to your husband's place, you're also seen as an outsider. So you're disinherited from your father's house, you're disinherited from your husband's house, except of course your husband is strong enough to put his foot down to say, this and this is what I'm going to be giving to you. But many of the times we see that these women are disinherited even in their husband's house, right? So, and you know, it's something that they have practiced for a very long time. And because the Ada, so to speak, the female children are seen as the nurturers, so you disinherit them. But then when you're getting old, you now pass on your responsibilities to this same Ada that does not have a piece of land in your house because she got married. And then you put all the burdens. You see is the women that are sending the money. If you need to be taken care of in away from home as a sick and dying man or sick and dying mother, you move to your Ada's house, in your Ada's husband's house. That's where you're going to be nurtured. Meanwhile, your own son and your sons who have collected all the lands and all the properties are having a field day. So they just come visit you in your Ada's house and then they go back. Their wives are having a field day. Nobody's taking care of you. And women are saying this has got to stop. If I am not inheriting anything from you, if you are falling sick, your son, who you gave all the 15 plots of land, should take you to his, he has a wife, of course. The wife will take care of you. The wife will nurture you. And that reminded me of a few years ago, a family friend had this discussion. She was having a very bad time because her husband insisted that her father, who was sick, should not stay in their house again. The man's argument is, every time your father comes to this town, I take care of your father. He stays in my place. Now, when it was time for this particular father to share properties, they even gave her something. They gave her one plot of land, but they gave the son 7, 10, 20. The man had lands in the village and shared it. And so they gave her only one. So her husband took it upon her and said, no, we cannot be taking care of Baba anytime Baba comes. For free, because Baba does not bring anything. Even the money we give to, you know, Baba will still share it for the other sons that are coming to visit and all of that. Yeah.
So I get that. Let me pause you for a second, because there's also that part of, it is my responsibility to raise you as a father.
Okay.
And as a child, I give you property, I don't give you property. It's also your corresponding responsibility to care for me when I'm old. So it shouldn't be because I am giving you property or not. What do you think, Nima?
Okay, so it shouldn't be because of property. It shouldn't be. When you raise your kids in love, they will love you no matter what you have. So there are parents who die without properties.
Yeah.
So people should start to detach them. Well, that's what I did. Detach their minds from whatever they get. But there's a way we do it in the Benin empires around us. What we do is that the family home, the ancestral home is preserved.
Okay.
So you don't age outside of your own house. So as whether you're male, you're the mother, you're the father, you're supposed to age in your own house. Your first son will do every right around that house to understand your custom, tradition, and family values enough to maintain you in old age. I don't know whether you get what I mean. Okay. So that you don't become a burden to your daughter's families. You're in your own home. Okay. When the sad part is that some sons will not inherit the home, their wife will not buy into that culture. The mother will still be a stranger, wondering why our daughters are not around her, who are supposed to be familiar with her ways. So some mothers do not attach on time, especially for women. They don't, or fathers too, they don't attach to their daughter-in-laws enough for her to understand that goal. The Diogbe is your ancestral home. You're supposed to age there. When you pass there, your son is supposed to perform the rites of your burial enough to show community that he understands your values and tradition, that you will age in a familiar environment, unlike what we now see. So it is for your...
So what you're saying is that the son will inherit that house.
Yes.
And
the first
live in
son
that house with his wife,
you also
and the
age
wife
there.
will take care of
you. So she comes in as the mother of the house. She takes care of the house. So you are not a stranger to her.
In the olden days, yes. So does tradition and culture consider the fact that people are now marrying outside their cultures? One, they are living in the cities.
Two,
these are so therefore, does it mean that we need to start reviewing culture and tradition?
No, we cannot review this.
No, we can't.
This particular culture
is
perfect in its way.
Can we review it, understanding the times?
No, the times are there, but this culture is perfect in its way.
Yeah.
You know why I say that? It will be the ancestral home or your culture can only be preserved by those who love it, who value it. Let's not even use love. Let's say value. So a person who comes in, when you bring a non-tribe person, marry outside your tribe, outside your race, safe, the person is supposed to adopt this new culture, understand it, love it enough to tell their kids. So my auntie married in the Lagos culture, and she's so Lagosian that you cannot even tell that she's Abeokuta. You can't even tell. And so that's how women have done it over time. You come in, you don't destroy what you see. The last month I traveled to Kwara, and I did not even understand whether my sister is from Esako anymore. She's very Yorubalized now. She's, in fact, very of them. And that's how women have done it. We've nurtured culture along with our children. Okay. And so that's, undervaluing that is what has led to this chaos that we are now experiencing. It's not really about whether the child is, which I disagree. A child, male or female, should inherit. And if you see in my custom, for instance, male or female inherits, they will tell you it's Islam. But then one uncle will now come and vary culture. Only one uncle. Okay. You know, I'm very...
So for me, you know, what BC and Nima have described is not something that I am that I can relate to or familiar with. Of course, as a Nigerian, I have heard, you know, that in some parts of the country we have these culture where women already know that you know, when they're born, they would not inherit from their father's, you know, property. And I've always found it strange, you know, that the child that you gave birth to and you love and you raise and you did everything and then you disinherit, well, I don't know if it's a disinheritance because they don't see it like they're punishing you, just that culturally you don't,
economically,
yes, you don't get anything. But I want to, you know, like a lot of the things that happen in our culture, I want to believe that there must have been a reason, and maybe, and even a good reason for why it was, you know, created or was introduced in the first place. Maybe it was just a way of empowering the male child and empowering the name and making sure that the legacy continues. But I think what we're talking about is that times have changed and there seems to be like an abuse of that culture to the point that women feel completely disempowered, you know. So there's nothing, like we said, when we're talking about this, I don't want it to seem like parenting is transactional. I take care of you, and therefore, because I'm taking care of you, you give me the inheritance. Do you understand? I love you regardless, just like I believe that the parent loves me regardless. But at the point, what the unfairness is, we live in times where sometimes the woman who is taking care of you or the daughter who is taking care of you is not financially strong, and you have a brother who, in my own opinion, who when he received that inheritance should not take it as inheritance for just himself and his wife and his children, but as a custodian of this inheritance, and then he sits down with his siblings and say, how do we distribute this so that everyone is empowered, and especially looking to our women or our sisters in the family who have the responsibility of taking care of our parents. What do we do? And the truth is also culturally what we see is that our men, you know, culturally, where like they are the breadwinners, they take care of things financially. So I can understand how inheritance may be given to them so that when money or financial needs, you know, come up, they are able to provide for that. But as we said, times have changed, so every sibling needs to have some form of empowerment, and it's also an appreciation. You know, it's just something that you give on to your children. And I like where I like Nima's own is that there's almost like a, you know, like this is the reason why we're doing this, and this is how it should be done. And I believe too that when you come into someone's family, if you're married into a family, you should understand the culture. I feel that what we're seeing, like a modern day example of what we're talking about, is this Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, when, you know, they're accusing her of going into the royal family and wanting to change things, not understanding the culture and accepting the culture as it is, even though it's in modern times. And modern people are saying things must change. Exactly. If it affects someone physically and mentally, if you've seen it in the 21st century and it does not make sense, then let's sit down at the table and change it. And so really it's about, these are our cultures, no matter how well-intended or well-intentioned they were in the beginning, how is it affecting us today, and how can we change them and create new cultures that our children can imbibe, and, you know, we have a better culture going forward.
When you go on a break, we'll be right back. Continue this conversation.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Marina Station and all the passengers.
I'm Miriam Lunge. I'm a passionate environment advocate and a published author.
I am the founder of Celebration, a businesswoman, and a fashion icon. I am a wealth coach and a real estate developer.
I am Amaka Rakwe.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, you know, decisions on policies, programs of government that will have to ensure that, you know, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call a permanent solution.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crimes of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe is achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless.
As the morning light filters in, the Max Breakfast kickstarts your day from the bedside.
Bring you the morning vibe and plenty of ginger to start your day.
Join us on the Max Breakfast as we help you see your day one step at a time. On tips, we've got the ultimate playlist for you. We give you back-to-back.
And all the biggest news from the world of entertainment. Only on Max.
Area, waiting the apple, waiting the shop. You need to award winning waiting the 102.3 Max FM.
Lagos, Nigeria, you're welcome to the Max Drive.
Whether you're there for inside motor, you're there for inside traffic, we're there for you with a Max Highway.
You know what it is. It's the Max House Party. King Dion, DJ Charlie Shee. Let's go.
102.3 Max FM. Hit music for Lagos.
Stay ahead with the biggest news stories. Go beyond the news headlines. Experience impactful investigations. Enjoy resourceful news coverage in real time. TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. Live every day on this channel. TVC News. First with breaking news.
Entertainment for me, first of all, I say is a vocation, is work for me, is a way of life that brings about merriment, relaxation, and is happiness, is everything good put together. Anything at all just to make you happy, give you joy, make you laugh, make you dance. Entertainment is a way of life for everyone.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past few years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your...
Thanks for staying with us. We're back. Okay, so we continue with the show, and so there's an angle I wanted to come from. The fact that today's woman is questioning a lot of things. We're asking questions, we're reviewing culture, we're reviewing tradition, and we're saying that why are things the way they were, and we want to create our new normal, our new reality. And one of which is that I'm married to an Ekiti man, and if I'm expected to go to pound yam all the time, I will tell you, sorry, I don't know how to pound yam. So now if you're telling me that because I'm coming into your culture, I must pound the yam, I must understand that every single day, morning, afternoon, night is pounding. Because that's what our own forefathers did, our mothers, that's what our other mothers did. They did that. But we are saying, okay, as long as my husband, who is not demanding it, he's not interested in you pounding him every day. But in his culture, maybe it's expected of it. So we're saying we're having new conversations now that can we eat something else? Can we have, and the one is willing. So the wife now, who is the wife of the husband that inherited, is saying, listen, this is my home. I don't want your mother to come and stay in my house. Don't say because you inherited all this land belongs to them. I didn't ask for it. You inherited it. we're having a conversation where it is me and you,
a nuclear family.
So in that situation, how do we now begin to modify culture and tradition based on the new knowledge and new experiences people are having?
Okay, so before we hold this one now, I want to give a little backdrop from where Nima stopped. Now, the Idiogbe culture is for the first sons, right? It's the first son that inherits the family compound, and then is expected to stay there and all of that. But we have second sons, we have third sons, we have fourth sons, we have fifth sons, as many sons as the man can have, who do not inherit that Idiogbe. So their situation is different. They stay somewhere else, they buy their own land, they have their own properties, and they too, most of the time, move away from the village to the city. The question is, wherever you are, whether you are first son, second son, third son, you have properties and you have children. How do you distribute your properties to your children? Do you also disinherit your daughters? Because that is the culture, what is, that's what it's been what has been going on for a very long time? Or do you now say, no, as long as you're a girl, you're a boy, this is how I'm going to do it? Now, the Idiogbe, like my father now, cannot for any reason come, he's the first son. He cannot for any reason come to my house to stay. In fact, when he comes to visit, does not stay more than 3 days. He's itching to go back home. If I have to sort him out anyhow, I have to send things to him. If I needed to get him a nurse when he gets to that age where he can't help himself, I'll need to do that. He won't come to my place.
Well, can the Idiogbe live in the city?
Listen. Idiogbe is not in the city.
Can the first son say, I don't want to live in the village, I want to live in the city?
He will still maintain the village.
Yes, it's optional for I'm just giving an example. But he has brothers who are not the people staying in that house. Those ones are living in the city. So it's a difference. We're not, it's not only first sons we're talking about. We're talking about every father who is giving inheritance right now. Those ones are living in the city. Anybody can choose to stay in the city. We also have poor people who do not have anything to inherit, who had to find their way, grow their status, get to a point where they are disinheriting again. Their daughters. Those are the people we're also talking about. Now, it's not like you inherited family compound. You built your own.
Now. Can we begin to review culture?
Exactly.
Hold on.
Can we begin to review? Because the way the status quo then
I think
is
to review
different.
The why. Why was that done?
Yeah, exactly.
We know the why.
So the why was to preserve our cultures.
Yeah. The heritage,
our language, our food, our ways. And I said it's a beautiful thing on its own if you study it. It's to preserve our ways. We have become so civil now. Everybody, if they ask you, you speak English, you cannot speak your dialect, and you're wondering why your people became extinct. So it was to preserve your own.
Okay.
And let me explain the Idiogbe very well. So your first son has to do custom, but he can choose not to do. If you have 2, 3 other sons, the day he says, me, I not do Idiogbe, he steps out. He doesn't do your burial rights. He steps out, his younger brother or uncle comes in, and the English practice it. Who have restrictive clauses?
Yeah, they do.
The English have restrictive laws when it comes to their feudal rights, land and all of that, to preserve it within the home. So for instance, you have 7 lands. Once you give your daughter, I'm not advising disinheriting daughters. I inherited under Islamic law. But you give your daughters, you give your son-in-law, who ordinarily, because in patriarchy, controls everything. But if you keep within your sons, you can actually have your nephew, grandson from your daughter come back home. So my dad, for instance, my grandma was orphaned early. There were just 3 girls. So she married quite early into my dad's family. But when my dad was grown, her uncle, who had inherited so many land and became so very powerful because of land, said, are you not so person's son? Oh, come and see me because there's land here. He's giving back his right to him. So that's what the Idiogbe was for. You're not supposed to take it and become so autocratic you don't even know your role. So you're supposed to preserve and keep. You decide which generation, not for only your children. But when greed came in and we lost the real reason for it, we're dealing with human factors. But culture in itself is so beautiful that it was serving us.
Okay, so my question is that, does it still serve?
It's serving us.
Let me tell you why. Because that person, the Idiogbe, maybe the person like the first son, can get educated, can relocate to Canada just like his counterparts. Listen, they've gone to Canada, and he's not interested one bit. He will be sending money to the house, they just maintain the house. He could really care less. So my question is, I agree with you. How it was done, it served a purpose. It was for a reason then. Today, 2025, is it still serving? How do we modify it such
just
that we still preserve that culture that you're talking about. I'm just
you allow another child to carry the load.
They are not. We have Nigerians in Nigeria now. Everybody has not gone to Canada.
Everybody has not gone.
I'll let you respond. Okay. My father-in-law has houses in Ekiti and Ife. All the children have gone. They're not there. No problem. I don't know the last time that my husband would go and stepped into that place.
But he had.
Imagine if it was a Diogbe. Who's going to? Their couple is checking out there.
No, I think we're limiting it. What I think is, if you can't take it, no one in the immediate family can take that responsibility. There are cousins, there are nephews, there are nieces. There are people who are still in there. There are people who have property in the village today, and they have, it's their parents' property, they've never been there, but they have cousins that are living there.
Yes.
It's just that, you know, for me, I appreciate the why that you have just expressed, because it now explains to me that it's not about collecting this thing and making it my money so that I am richer than my siblings. It's because there's a responsibility and a cost to maintaining culture and, you know, perpetuating it in such a way that we never lose it. But the problem we're having, and I think that's why we're discussing, is the abuse of culture. And I see it in a lot of things where we have begun to throw the baby out with the bathwater. This, if we don't understand the why of something, we will not address the issue we need to address.
So we preserve the culture in a different way, Mariam?
No, we can't. And I think this is right. When we say, if the immediate person cannot take over, the next person who is interested can. Or the next person, as long as that person is a family member, it's okay for you to be the person that inherits. But not inherit in such a way that you disempower everyone else. So that is where we're talking about is, okay, and then you're talking of someone who marries into the family. You must understand, this is the culture that you're marrying into. These are the conversations you have. Is this something I can live with? Look at, see, the reason I keep referring to the royal family in the abroad is because theirs is the most popular one that we can look to. Their wives, if you're going to get married to the first son or the first daughter, you just know automatically this is what your role is going to be. Their queen that passed on, we saw the story of how her husband married her. It took him some time to accept his new role as beneath her. You know, this is a person that in his own country or whatever, he was a prince in himself. You know, and then when you realize that this is what you're coming into, it's something you sit down and you decide, do I want to? Because there's a reason that they're doing it a certain way. It's not because they want to, it's when we look at it that they're doing it in such a way to break me so that I'm not strong or I don't have financial means. As long as we understand what is there for, then we can modernize it. Look at the Ekiti pounded yam that you're talking about. All the poundo machines, what are they there for? All the people that help us, all the chefs and everything. So now that's the problem. So you see, that's the problem. When the person insists that it has to be pounded, then it's a problem. Because the thing is, exactly, because what they want at the end of the day is pounded yam on my plate. How I go about it should not be your problem.
So let me ask something. Let me come. I'll come to you, but there's an angle I want you to just to highlight a bit more. I know a family, very, very wealthy man. He had so many children. He had lots of money, but the kids, for whatever reason, probably because of their education, their exposure, they were not really. The wealth meant nothing to them. They didn't really care because when you are drowned in so much opulence. They were like, when you have abundance, you don't care. They don't really care. So they traveled abroad and they don't want anything to do with their father's money. And they stayed where, so they didn't care. The man built houses, maybe 10-bedroom house. They didn't really care. So they lived in their various countries. They married when you go here, married even, and they're fine. They don't want any connection. When he found out that when he died, they came home, buried him, and that was back. None of their family members saw their great break light. So tomorrow they're still complaining that we don't see these children. Now the man's 10-mansion house, a 10-room mansion is there, gathering cobwebs. The point is that if our objective is to preserve culture, instead of doing it through the route of property and heritage to the first son, is there a different route that we can begin to have a new conversation to explore such that we still preserve the culture, but not through this issue of
So the issue of preserving culture through property and being in the country will not work for the new generation of children we are raising.
Exactly.
So we need to find other ways. And one of the other ways that we find is language. So no matter where you are, you should be able to speak your local dialect. And that's why parents need to get to work. If you have started already raising the kids and they don't know the language, you need to, if you have to get a tutor for them, it has to be compulsory as well. Some of the things that they will do for you as a parent to learn this, our language. Language is very important. Now, conversations and storytelling about your history is also important. Many of us don't even know our history. So we need to start asking our parents that are still alive to give us that story. We need to pass down the story to our children. Now, these are some of the things that give them a form of identity. Wherever they find themselves, when they speak, they can tell you that I am from this place, I am from this culture, this is how we do things, where I'm from. They don't need to be there. Because if we're saying let's hold them back, let's build the houses, let's force them to come and stay in Jijogbe, those children will not, they are not like us, they will not answer you. They just need to disappear and they are gone. You see them once in a while, you call them on phone and they move on. So we need to devise other means. That language is very, very important. That language, their storytelling, knowing their history is where we can now begin to. And after a while, I realized that children who actually know their history, after a while want to come back. They want to see the place. They want to mingle with the people. They already know who they are, whether they are there or not. They will find their way back.
Let me take this call. Doctor from Enugu. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, sir.
Compliment on the season.
Same to you. Compliments on the season to you too.
You know?
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I can hear you.
Yes, go ahead. You're live.
Compliment on the season.
This is your view.
Again. Compliment of the season.
Okay, I think it depends on the region. I'm speaking.
Your listen to your TV is delayed. Please speak to me. Go ahead. Go ahead directly.
Listen to your phone.
It depends on the region and its place. As an Igbo man, a son. Okay.
Television is delayed. Oh, come on.
Yeah. So he was going to talk about the Igbo culture, Igbo culture, where a son is what they need.
Yeah.
To preserve, and so
he didn't say that.
Yeah. No, he took a court.
He didn't say that.
No, he didn't finish saying. But he took a Supreme Court judgment to allow women inheriting the Eastern custom. Until date, the judgment is not they enforce. You have to go out to another court to enforce it within families. So culture is.
Yeah, I was going to say this new way of preserving culture, apart from the Idiogbe system that you have described. And I feel that the reason we're saying is that because we don't see our culture finish. If our daughter was going to marry someone in the Oyinbo land, that her father-in-law is a lord of one, what do they call them? Yes. we will wear it high up, and every time they say, yes, my daughter is married to the lord of something, something. But because it's in the backyard of your village, it's now, we're traveling abroad, we don't live here anymore. They would go to the countryside, sit there with all their people, and and they respect it. Of course, times are changing, so things have to be done in such a way that it is fair and it is, normal. But we're looking down on our culture too much, and I feel that yes, there are different ways to preserve culture. I think, but this is one of the important ways. Where let's look at it. It's not just a right. It's not just, a giving. It's a responsibility. It's heavy. It's not easy. That person has to understand, you know what, I'm going to give up something to do this. But I'm doing it for posterity. I'm not doing it for today. And whoever is going to be a wife or part of this family needs to understand this and is willing to make that sacrifice. So now,
I absolutely like that.
Hold on. So it's a duty.
Okay.
It comes with your birth.
Wait, I'll let you go. I know you want to come with a friend.
I
want that her point. I want you to sing it properly.
I want to build on it.
Yes, so because there are people listening right now, and they'll just fall in love with John. They're forgetting that John is from somewhere. And that your love is a responsibility. You fall in love with him, you're going to go to Diogbe.
So when Bisi was talking about language, Miriam sort of took my thoughts out of my brain with what she said, because I was going to just counter it like that. There's a see finish, as Miriam said, and it's a duty. You're born into it. You see it, you love your family, you want to continue it. There are things we can change. Can we talk about the things we cannot change? We cannot not want the Idiogbe. We cannot not want to be in the Benin kingdoms, the communities where we are from. What we can change, you can say, my father built his own as mud house. I want to renovate. I am now the head. I'm the first son. You don't have to live in the Idiogbe. You take your time as Easterners to go home for certain festivals. You know your custom, you know their festivals. They cannot be doing EBA Community Day, and I will forbid it as the first son. Do you understand? I will be in the village. I know who is king. I'm in the council. If my parents are... My husband, for instance, is a kingmaker in his waiting. He's a first son. And I always say to my son, you're a kingmaker. Be ready for it. Now, my son doesn't speak language yet. He doesn't even know these things. But because I am saying it into his subconscious, if in the future it is in his 70s and the family says you are the eldest now to make the king, he will understand that from the Ogbe kingdom, this is what we do. The Ogbe family, this is what we do. So that is why they own family. We too have titles. We have lords, kings, members of council of our village, of our places where we are from. When we watch it in English movie, we understand it. When it comes to the ballet is still finished. Because all they do, the Omonile thing, everybody is just selling land. It was supposed to be that your farmland, your 10 acres, your 100 acres of farmland, still produce what your family is known for producing. If your people are young farmers, you're young farmers. My cousins don't sell land finish.
Let me take this call. Dr. Kayode, you're live. Thanks for calling. Hello, good morning, Dr. Kayode. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. This is Mr. Ayo speaking for Abuja.
Yes, go ahead, please. You're live.
Thank you. Good morning to you, ladies, great minds.
Good morning.
Program very interesting and very interesting.
Thank you, sir.
You see, the topic is quite interesting, and I think we'll have to be logical about it. There is a saying in my place, I'm from Kogi, precisely, Aitolobede. They tell you that Omotoba Solino Oswakuyako, meaning that if you leave your origin, you are bound to suffer. That's the summary of it all. Now, let me go back to the topic. Are men supposed to inherit? This program, the topic is actually logical, if I may put it that way. Why I said it's logical is this. I am the fourth son by virtue of death, because the senior one died. I became the first son of my own parents. Now, let's assume my dad now give a property to me. I am married. My wife does not have rights to inherit anything from our own family, right? Now, when the property is left to me, logically, whatsoever I own also belongs to my wife. Is that not so?
Yeah, yeah, logically.
So logically now, she has gotten part of her own inheritance. So there are things I feel we shouldn't try to change. If we try to change it, we are bringing more trouble into ourselves' life and into the country.
Logically, can I ask you a question? Logically,
go on.
If your wife leaves you, maybe you guys separate, logically now, does she go with any aspect of the property?
Of the property?
Yes. Do you give her anything?
If I claim I own something, like I got married to my wife legally, traditionally, and otherwise, church. So the three practices of marriage I did. So whatsoever I own, if by any reason it comes to a point of divorce, my property will definitely be shared.
Okay. Okay, that's you.
Pray to get to that point.
That's you, but that's not the culture.
Yes.
So let me add a little thing. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Culture, I'm with you, please. Yes.
Yes, I want to add something. So one of the reasons women started, fighting this was the fact that even in their husband's house, it's innate that you own anything. If anything happens and there's a separation or a divorce, you go empty-handed. So you are disinherited from your father's house. You are disinherited from your husband's house. That's how it has been. It's just a few men who would give you something, which I hardly see anyway. But that's how the culture has been, and so that's why they're saying, you give us something.
In terms of culture. Hello, I'm not.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Can I go ahead now?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Now, this is in culture. Culture as my own culture. I can't speak for others.
Okay.
My own culture is whatsoever I own, even if it's inherited or not, my wife owns part of it because I have a child too. So if you tell me I own this property, logically again, I'll be passing on to my first son or my sons. You get it? So there is no way you will tell me that my wife doesn't own anything. If my son owns something, it's also my wife's own.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kadi.
Yes, I was going to say something, and you know, we're talking about this Idiogbe, and sometimes if you don't experience something, you will not have a proper understanding of what goes on inside. I was raised in Idiogbe. My father was the first son who inherited everything, so he's still in his Idiogbe till tomorrow. He's the Idiogba of the family, and there are certain things in preserving our culture that religion came and made evil, watered down, made evil. And so people who now gave their lives to either Christ or became Muslims had to do away with certain things. To be a Diokba in a royal family, there are rights, you have your gods, you have your rights, there are things that you perform. Yeah. So when my father became born again, he decided to stop performing. So I grew up performing rites. We tie a kwacha and go to the river. I grew up with all of that. I grew up as an idol worshiper at some point, and then moved to Christianity and all of that. So we would do all of those rites because it was his responsibility after his father died to take over and carry on with the family traditions, right? We did all of that. He gave his life to Christ and realized that, no, I can't do this anymore. And there were some sacrifices that would have been made if he had not stopped doing those things. One of the sacrifices is that the first son would be in that house. He will not go anywhere else. The first daughter, which is me, from my family, will not be able to get married. I will be in that house. The family is the one responsible for, they call them the Omu, responsible for doing sacrifices for the Asaba of Asaba. That was my culture. So I would be performing those rites. And because I'm supposed to be in that home performing those rites, I cannot marry, but I can have children. No? You come meet me in my father's house, give me bele, I born children, I stay there. But I cannot go to another person's house. Those were some of the things that he had to let go of so that he can move on with Christianity and save us from that. And he told us, I don't want you people here. There are so many eyes here on you people. Stay far away so that you are protected. No, my brother will not wake up tomorrow and say he wants to go back to that place. So there are certain things people, especially in our culture, that because of religion, yes, people run away from. So if you are saying we have to go back in preserving that culture, we don't want to go back to those things anymore. How else can I preserve my culture? I personally, I know the history of Asaba. I know the history of my family. I speak my local dialect. The prayer now is I can help my children learn some of those. You cannot, even if I live abroad today, you cannot make me regret being a Nigerian or regret being an Asaba woman. I know my culture very well. And I dress in my culture most of the time. And I do. So I still have my culture with me. I don't have to be in my village. I don't have to be in Idiogbe to be able to represent my culture.
Thank you.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Exact example. Fantastic. Let me take Gowon. Good morning, Gowon. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello.
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, please, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
So, in respect of this and your hot topic for today, I just feel the need to also make my own comment because I think the African culture really needs to be updated. Over the years, even Christianity, there was certain as in what they actually believe, where they interpret certain things. There was issue of exclusivity that it is without, there is no salvation outside the church. But with time, there is need for ecumenism. So the point I'm making here is that
hello. So that, I mean, I'm happy you gave us that example because that's some of the conversations modernity brings up. So it's one thing to preserve a culture, but there are so many factors: religion, relocation, the exposure to some level makes people think, okay, I don't want to be part of that because I'm right now.
What BC highlighted is the spirituality of it, and I have seen people. I mean, especially the Yorubas, you hear them, even the current Oni, you know, where they'll come into ascend their seats and say, but I am coming with my religion, or I'm educated, and therefore these are the things that you see going forward for my people. They will go to schools. Because I'm educated or because I'm a Christian, this is what we will do going forward. Of course, it's not easy. They meet a lot of challenges, but if they're able to show that it is better for the people, you see this continue to change. Just as the last caller Gawan was saying, is that, you know, we need to update. We cannot keep staying the way that we used to. Even the ones that we're looking at in different parts of the country, if we see how they did it in the 17th, 16th centuries, it's much different today. So definitely change needs to come in. Change that shows that that recognizes human beings. There used to be a time we used to talk about human sacrifices. How dare you today? Do you understand? We have evolved. We're growing. So for me, the spirituality is one end of it. The cultural, what we are talking about, the language, the way of life, you know, and some of those things. That's another part. And I feel that we can still do, like I said, we can still do that without throwing the whole thing away. You know, that you live in a different country does not mean that the next generation or next relative cannot take it. We have seen we've seen in our storybooks where a child is supposed to get, you know, is supposed to take the seat, but he's unable to for various reasons. And then a cousin somewhere takes it, a nephew somewhere takes it, or even a child that was born outside the community for whatever reason comes in. The idea is this culture, this way of life must be preserved so that the generations to come do not lose it.
I think we've all agreed that we have to preserve it. It's just the method in which it's preserved that we have to preserve it. Let me take this call. Francis calling from Akwa Ibom. Thanks for calling, Francis.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Let me sound like I'm a first-time continuous scholar.
First-time business scholar.
Business scholar?
When you clap the hand, it's sweeping me. So that's why I have to say first-time continuous scholar. Now, our lady from Delta, she made a very valid point that I was like, I felt very emotional because this whole tradition of tradition, people made those traditions. People made them. Some of them were made out of ignorance. That we cannot continue to uphold when we believe what we believe. My mom was the president of her age grade, where they play masquerade. And there are lots of things attributed to that masquerade. At a point, she told her people that I will no longer be part of it, not because she will not be part of the age grade, but when it gets to the masquerade angle, she will not be there, but she's still part of the age grade. They said, okay, if you will not play, contribute money. She said, no, if I contribute, I am part of it.
Yeah.
So she stopped it. Before you know, one after another, they all stopped. In her own age grade now, they've totally eradicated that. And I believe that is some of the things we that are enlightened today can try to see how we stop these things, because they are not helping us. Your colleague there who said, oh, she cannot go back. No, ma, you can go back with courage to teach them, to let them know that these things that we are doing is not supposed to be so. Yes, we have good traditions that we can sell to the world, but there's no way we can tell the world today that the first daughter will sit down in the house and be using Omo to be touching everywhere. What are you touching? You are touching nothing. Nothing comes out. So we need to begin to enlighten people. Let the people know that some of our cultures were brought up by people who did not have understanding of what they're doing. You want to bury a king, you need two heads. What for? Those things are the things we need to drop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So custom have changed. We must accept that, you know, custom changes a lot of times. In my own custom now, we no longer do, in my family particularly, we no longer do burials. So we bury our dead and everybody goes home. We bury, and I buried my father-in-law. I saw the difference. Where they bury and we're cooking and we're just feed and we're just going through rites and rites. So some people change. You vary these things as it works for you. But you don't negate and demonize your entire culture because you've gone to school. It's as basic as going to school. Just go school abroad, come back. You just go collect education. You just adopt another culture and you negate the ways of your people. So we must talk them carefully. We must talk them carefully. And the Idiogbe, as is practiced in Edo, not this one that BC described. It's about the first son remaining in the first, ancestral home of his ancestors. He can renovate it. You know, there's a spiritual. So there's house. That's in the house. So they're different. So there's the spiritual, which you perform. My grandmother's family are the priest's family, but that's not my business. My father's own family, nothing concerns them. So I say, that's not my, you know, you can come and choose. So you can, hold on, Morayo. You can choose to want to vary that spiritual. You can come in with an enlightenment like my dad did and say, what's the wastefulness of this burial? My children should be exempted. I choose to exempt myself. And you know, you can vary it based on your own.
No. So this one, religion, listen to how it happened. Religion made it look like what you're doing is evil. And you have to change it.
No, but you heard the caller now saying those things really are they good? Are they serving us? Well, how many times in this modern days have we heard of the heads that they used to bury anybody? Did we not bury an Oni recently? Did you not bury an Obabini recently? Did you not carry out custom the way it was done? And did we hear of any heads that were attached to it? You know, so you will not hear, but that means what you don't hear is not promoted.
Exactly.
So don't allow somebody demonized, because when Queen of England died, now only coffin we see, we didn't hear too.
We didn't hear too. After all, this happened then.
So this comparison,
now the Queen of England demonized our own in the first place.
So we shouldn't allow somebody just cancel our own. Let them not cancel our own.
What I'm saying, that
don't be like that.
No,
don't resemble.
So what I'm saying, what we've been having, and I think when she used her example, she said she knows everything about her culture.
BC didn't cancel it.
She said she knows everything. So what I'm saying is I wanted us to acknowledge the reality
of the times,
and see that this culture we're trying to preserve, though spiritually, physically, materially, in different ways, can we begin to modify it?
What we're saying is that we have been modifying it. Things have been coming up. There was a time we were killing twins. It doesn't happen anymore. The things are different. What we are saying is, in modernizing and modifying and updating, don't throw the whole thing away. We don't make sure that we preserve it in such a way that we have the culture, we have the language, we understand the good parts of it, the positives, and that is what we should try and push for.
So going back to the original topic of how do we preserve, how women are disinherited, and then who should take care of the aging parents? Should it be because you gave me inheritance or not? I mean, let's wrap up on that.
Of course not. It's not. I would love you as my parent. You brought me here, you raised me and everything. Whether you give me, they did not give me. So I know I'm a daughter in that part of the world where they disinherit women. So I wasn't given anything, but it doesn't mean I will not step in and do what I need to do for my father because he raised me, right? But I would have wished that it was different, because growing up, I always felt that I was less because I was a woman, and I would not want any of my girls to feel that same way. So I've learned that lesson, and I don't want to transfer it to my children. That's the conversation. Every child that I have is equal. If I have anything to share, I will share equally. I'm not going to say because you're a boy and because you're a girl, right? So that they don't have the same mentality of I am less than a man because I am a girl.
That's part of the modification.
Yes, that we are talking about. But I will do my bit, you know, as my daughter, as the first daughter to my father, and take care of him if I need to do that.
I think what I've learned here is the importance of always knowing the why of something. And so for me, you know, when it comes to if conversations like this will ever come up, I would let children know that sometimes with responsibility, you get some privileges. And the privilege is so you can carry out these responsibility. And if the other siblings understand that there is a reason why one particular child is getting something that seems different or better than yours, it's because there are things that that child needs to do. And as long as that child also understands that this responsibility does not mean disempowering your siblings, you know, then we have a good story. It's not, sometimes fairness does not look fair, but you know, it's in the, it's in what we finally do, in the work that we do and the impact that we make, that we now see the fairness.
I wanted to end with Engineer Tijani's message. You want to say something?
I wanted to say something. So it's unfair to have more resources and expect duty of somebody with lesser one. So when you have inherited more, as a man, or whether you shouldn't expect beyond love for your aged parents. Provision, responsibility, and the duties that come with what you have taken, you must perform it and find a way to balance it. So you are not the man that will come and be talking about mental health when it comes to your parents aging or your wife not accepting. You must find a way to do that balance because you got more.
We have a message, just one here. He said it can be modified. The gods don't they chop shawarma and pizza too, Jolly. Make we give them mayonnaise for sacrifice instead of blood.
For
culture evolves and should be dynamic and not stagnated. As long as no child is the architect of when he was born, where he was born and which culture to inherit, any cultural practice that is capable of causing infractions among siblings should be expunged. We need to start having conversations about cultural practices that are unfit for our dynamic world. There were reasons why these practices came into existence, but we are not reassessing whether these reasons leading to the establishment of these cultural practices will still fit in the 21st century. Lives evolve because life is dynamic, and so should culture follow suit. Any culture that is unfit should be expunged and look into the book of history. I think that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we should have our guests here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Hello, TVC Communications. How can I help?
What makes TVC the right choice for my business?
Excellent question, sir. Let me share some exciting facts with you.
Start your day on TVC Entertainment with Wake Up Nigeria, a family and lifestyle show. Your View empowers women globally.
It's your view, let it count.
Entertainment Splash delivers the hottest celebrity trends. On TVC News, we keep you informed with breaking news and in-depth analysis of events shaping the world.
I will continue to speak the truth.
TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. delivers the most important stories of the day. Max FM, your hit music radio
broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and for my jam. So
My 20 was 320. I suppose don't be one
At this point, I contest my jam.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Okay, that's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show. Give for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say a recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah, but you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get fat.
Thanks for joining us on the show now is the Barmeko of Ibadan land and Chairman CEO of Erudite Group of Schools, Chief Saeed Oladele. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, we saw online that a very, very important Canada-based Nigerian researcher and critic, Dr. Olatunji, had mentioned that you're one of the most honored member of Ibadan, person from Ibadan, and he said that you are an Ibadan indigene whose time has been a man of integrity and diligence. You're the most honored, you've been a man of integrity and intelligence. That was quite an impressive statement from somebody like Dr. Olatunji from California to say that. How did that make you feel? And could you please expand a bit on those things he said about you?
Okay, thank you very much. I was also surprised to see that online on the 31st of December 2024, when he came online to say Saeed Oladele is one of the most honored indigenes of Ibadan of all time. That was kind of heavy. And he also said that diligence and integrity pay. So having such a statement from a researcher and critic actually was not a small thing to me. I was really, really glad, and I felt really, really honored by the statement. I think to start with, talking about each of the three important expressions there, one of the most honored Ibadan indigenes of all time. In 2023, when my school set a world record in Cambridge A level as the only school throughout the whole world, May, June 2023, Cambridge A level, as the only school throughout the whole world that recorded 100% passes in Cambridge A level within the world's shortest preparatory time.
Wow.
So, you know, Cambridge A level, standard preparatory time is 2 years, but in Nigeria, it's done for 10 months or 1 year, and in some places 2 years. But in our school, I said, oh, what's there? Let's do it within 4 months and 6 months. And we did it, and we recorded 100% passes. None of the students failed a single subject.
Wow.
That attracted the attention of the media, and the big people in Ibadan got to know, and that was how I got invited. And the Olubadan said he was going to give me a chieftaincy title. I didn't know something big was coming until they pronounced me at the first Bar Meko of Ibadan land. And after that brought me to the limelight, the Central Council of Ibadan Indigenes, which happens to be the umbrella body of all Ibadan Indigenes worldwide, clubs and associations. They also came to confer this thing on me, Grand Ambassador of Ibadan Culture, GAIC. Then after that, I won an African Transparency Honor Award. I won Nelson Mandela Leadership Award of Excellence and Integrity. All these awards kept coming until within a period of 3 months, I got 11 different awards.
Wow.
And just last week, I received 4 awards within 8 days. Within the space of 8 days, I received 4 awards, and that was what led Dr. Adetunji into saying what he said. And one of the organizations that gave me the award is NUJ, Nigerian Union of Journalists.
Wow.
You understand? So these are not small awards. And I think that was what led him into saying this guy is one of the most honored Ibadan indigenes of all time. I feel honored and humbled at the same time with that expression. Now, talking about the integrity he mentioned, yes, everybody knows that, and people keep talking about my integrity. To God be the glory. In 2002, when I worked with the organization I ever worked with, so people used to call me Mr. No Bribe, Mr. No Bribe. And 3 years ago, when some of them saw me, they said, are you still the same? Are you still the same? The way you used to be about 20 years ago, I said, till eternity now. I said, till eternity. And they were very, very impressed. And in 2023, December, I won Ganifa Wehimi Outstanding Integrity Award. So after I went back to Mosuro booksellers at Jericho in Ibadan to refund 118,000 naira that bounced to my account after second or third day. They were very glad. They took pictures with me, and that got to the media again. And people began to say, this is the kind of person that we need at the ends of affairs in this country. So my integrity is proven. So no doubt about it. I'm talking about my diligence. I've always been a diligent person. I became financially independent as a teenager. You can think about it. So I became financially independent as a teenager, maybe because my parents were not rich, so I had to think out of the box. And and 3 years before I gained admission to the University of Ibadan, I told my friends that no matter the university, no matter the course, I was sure of making a first class. And after I finished with the first class, it became a point of reference among my friends that this guy said he would make a first class.
And he made it. Okay,
and he made the first class. So that's
let's get a few more questions for you for some time.
Okay, you don't want me to give you
Okay, so you know, in a time where integrity is even seen as people don't even appreciate integrity so much, it's good to have a young person who has proven that integrity is important and who's also recognized for it, you know. So how do you see, you know, the youth of today and the role that they should play in politics?
Well, I want to say that the best thing that can happen to Nigeria or any country is to give the youth a chance, because they possess the vigor, they possess the energy with which they can drive development in any country. You can imagine the president of France, how old is he? So I want to just say that if we allow youths to also get more functional within our system, the system is going to change. Yes, people can say, but we have tested some youths and they have failed. Yes, my answer to that is that the kind of youths you give chance will determine the kind of results that you will get. You understand? When a youth in his previous organization that embezzled funds in his previous organization, so went to his state, settled the elders, and became governor. So if eventually that youth embezzled further, so who do we blame? Or a governor that gave his state a very vibrant young person as a youth commissioner and did very well. And during the second tenure of that governor, he zoned it to another community, and the community gave the governor somebody that could hardly speak English. You can imagine. Do we blame the governor? Do we blame the young person? Do we blame the community? There are a lot of intrigues when it comes to youth performances. But I strongly believe that the best to happen to this country is to give youths a chance.
So, may I have your gist? I know that prominent or your people have been coming to you to run for an office in the 2027 elections that we are expecting. I also have your gist that you were tagging along, saying no for a while before you recently accepted to run. You know, and based on what I see of you when you come on the show and the quality of your person, you know, excited that your people have been coming to you. I just want to ask, you know, what did they see in you as a person, you know, that they keep choosing you over?
Well, thank you very much. You know, you don't see yourself. People see you more than what you can think of. So when the calls came in from unexpected quarters, I was very, very surprised. You know, when somebody who is older than your father is telling you that he's a young person like you, that they want at the ends of affairs, you begin to wonder, what about the other people? So what I can say is that these people looked at my antecedents. You also spoke about integrity, so we spoke about diligence. What else do you think they will be looking for in somebody to steer the course of their state? You understand? So basically what I can say is that beyond my integrity, beyond my diligence, beyond my competence, I also have a principle of fairness. Wherever you put me, I am fair to all, irrespective of your region or your religion. In fact, those two words that I mentioned they are the key tools that politicians use today. So some people, for their selfish interest, they will be claiming to promote the interest of their region, while they are fighting for themselves. You understand?
Okay, yes.
I was recently asked a question by some kings of a particular region. If there is a matter between our region and your city, Ibadan, where will you stand? I said I will stand on the path of justice, and they were very impressed with my response. And also on the issue of religion, that some people today, politicians that do not belong to a particular religion, they will go and borrow names of people in that religion just to deceive people into supporting them, and they are so far from that kind of community. You understand? So in my own case, I believe that this should not be tools to be used by politicians. We should focus on integrity. We should focus on competence. We should focus on things that will make differences. Like now, as a Muslim, so if you are fair to people, people will definitely love you without looking at your religion. I'm running a school. My Christian staff members came to me that they want a space to be having their fellowship, and I granted it. And up to today, our Christian students, they're having their fellowship. Some of our pastor parents, they come over to worship with them. Sure, you understand? So if you are fair to people, if you are nice to people, definitely people will support you without looking at any sentiment of religion or religion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So going by your activities online, it's very obvious that you are pro-APC.
Sure, I'm a card-carrying member of
Exactly.
APC.
So what gives you the assurance that Mr. President would prefer you to be a well-known politician?
Well, that Mr. President will prefer me to well-known politicians, I don't have any doubt in that, because Mr. President himself is a believer in youths. He's a lover of youths. This is somebody that became a senator at the age of 40, that became a governor at the age of 47. So I strongly believe that Mr. President would support a youth with proven integrity, especially a first-class product from Nigeria's premier university, first and best. Sorry for those who didn't attend you. So Mr. President would prefer a youth that has a high dosage of humility, and at the same time, a youngest chief of the largest city in West Africa. How can Mr. President trade off such a person for another person?
I thought it was the people that choose, not the president. The people that choose.
Mr. President and the people. So the party leaders, they have the say on who become, but not just the party leaders. Mr. President has his own influence, has his own endorsement to also make. So being a youth, my academic background, being a chief, a young chief, everything is just working for me. And I believe that Mr. President, by virtue of his integrity, cannot say a no to me.
Okay, so what has been your biggest disappointment since you embarked on this journey? Because it cannot be that Nigerians did not do something.
You know, Nigeria is a very funny place. One day somebody said, sorry, this thing that they asked you to do, you don't have 10 billion naira, you better go and sit down. And I was sad that our politics has been unduly monetized. This is the same set of people that will come later to say that politicians they are just deceiving them, they are not delivering on their promises. Now, unfortunately, when you feel that somebody must have 10 billion, let us even assume that you don't have the 10 billion naira. Why must it be a big deal? There are a lot of Nigerians out there who are looking for people like me to support. You understand? But this same set of people that are suffering, that people are thinking of bailing out, they are the ones still asking politicians, candidates or aspirants for money. Now, by the time these people are running for election, they will do everything possible to get their support. So when they get the support, when they are running for the office, you will hear that today they have built a church, they have built a mosque, they have sent people to Jerusalem, sent people to Mecca. So everything they are doing, they know that they are not true to themselves. But so they want to do it to have their way.
The obvious questions Nigerians are asking, like, what exactly would you like to run for? Because you're a young person, obviously, you want to run for office. What's your desire?
Do you know what people called me to come and be governor of my state, but me, I cannot tell you that I want to run because the electoral law does not permit anybody to talk about this right now. You understand? But what people in my state called me for, as she said earlier, so was, come on board, we need a young person to handle the affairs of the state.
So this 10 billion naira we don't have, you know, politics in Nigeria is expensive. That's the honest truth. So you don't have to have it in your account. You can have it in resources, in people. Do you have people around you who would back you, put their money or where their mouth is supporting?
Well, I do not have any doubts that there are many good Nigerians who have been looking for people that they can truly trust, you know. So I don't have any problem that by the time we need the 10 billion, we get more than the 10 billion naira. You know, the Yorubas will say, so you understand?
Okay. So one of the things I like about this show is that we're very real, for sure, and I know that you are obviously a young person, diligent, the man of integrity. You're well, I know you have good experience. You have a good track record. Yes. So no doubt we understand your desire to get into office because that's the idea. We want young people to get involved. Yeah. But can you paint us a vision? What do you see as a leader, as a potential leader? What do you think? What do you feel? Where do you think you can take your state to, or in any capacity? It doesn't have to be. It could be any. You could be as a senator. You could be a local government chairman. You could be whatever. As a young leader, what kind of vision do you see for anywhere you may occupy in future that you can want to take your people to?
Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, what our people see as development is not development in the 21st century. So these days, if you hear this politician, they will say, "Oh, I've put solar. I've erected solar power here and there." Development has gone beyond that level. Okay. Many public schools, they're still writing questions on blackboard. Exam questions, not normal classwork. So they're still writing exam questions on blackboard when their mates, their peers are already making things happen using the knowledge of deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence, building robots. You understand? To make our world better, we are very far behind. Our politicians need to learn that one day our people will wake up and it will be a big challenge to them because what they are throwing to our people are the crumbs, not what our people deserve. And people that also feel that they cannot give their support until they collect money. So once you collect money from a politician, please know that you have lost your right to complain when the politician gets to office and start misbehaving. Thank you.
Okay, we have to wish you the best. I don't have much time, but thank you very much. Wish you the best in all that you do. And we hope that whenever you are ready, let us know. I will give you the best of what we can.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Thank you very much.
That is all we can take on today's show. Hope you join us tomorrow for another exciting edition. See you then. Bye for now.
Hope you enjoyed our news.